Welcome back to Muscle TV. Well, a couple of weeks ago, we went through a whole lot of exercises that are done badly. Good exercises done badly. And there's more. We told you we'd be back with more, and we are. We're going to go through a few exercises today to show you how to do them correctly. And we're here with Matt Mcqueen, a former IFBB pro, a multi-titled Australian champion, and an old mate of mine. How are you, Matt?
Good, thanks, mate.
Great to have you back on Muscle TV. Let's get straight into it. The first one we see all the time in gyms all over the world is a lat pull down, both to the front and the back. People just do it wrong and get nothing out of it. So let's see if we can fix up some of those bad habits. You're a great champion, and I know you always train strict. So let's get into it. We'll start off with a lat pull down behind the neck. They throw their head too far forward. They have their hands too close together. They jerk the movement around. They don't even pause at the bottom. This is the sort of stuff you see every day. So we're going to fix it. Okay, slow down. First thing we're going to do is take his hands out wider. I'll hold the bar go out nice and wide, and this spreads out your scapulars, pulls your shoulders apart, and engages your lats. Now, slide forward a little bit, Matt, because typically they're too far back. That's it. Keep your chin up and pull it down behind your head, and pause at the bottom and pull your lats out. Now, the most important thing there is to pause at the bottom to try and turn your elbows forward a little bit. All right, you need to work on your flexibility to do that. Go up, have a good stretch at the top, so don't pull it short. Pause. Pull down, elbows forward slightly, and pause. Now, as experienced as Matt is, he does lack a little bit of flexibility, which is why he's throwing his head forward so much. He's keeping his chin up, and the trick is to pull your elbows forward and pause at the bottom. And that's how you do a lat pull down to the neck. Now, just have a rest for a sec, Matt. The next one we're going to do is lat pull down to the chest. Now, to me, this is a much better back building exercise to begin with, but also done badly all over the world. So let's start with the lat pull down, Matt. This time we're going to go to your chest, and you're going to do all the wrong things. So don't lean back too far, pull it down low on your chest. This is what we see all the time. Now, the biggest mistake people make is they pull it down here somewhere. Lat pull down to the stomach, not to the chest. They swing, look at this. He's not pausing at the top, he's all over the joint. Now we're going to say slow down. Stop, Matty. Now, this is how you do it right. First thing is, once again, you slide forward, all right? Now, lean back as you come down. Pull it high on your chest, just under your chin. Pause at the bottom, and you see I'm putting my knee deep into his back to force it to arch. Because if you pull back, go Matt, pull back and squeeze like that and arch around an imaginary fist in the middle of your back, you're going to get your lats engaged, you're going to roll your shoulders back, you're going to get a good rotation. Slight pause at the bottom. Give us a pause at the bottom, Matty. Slight pause. And at the top, you've got to completely stretch and sit up straight again. So let's just let you go there, Matt. Go. Slight pause. Put a bit of swing into it, and that forces you back to arch. If you don't allow yourself to swing, you don't use your whole back, and that's what it's all about, is engaging every muscle in your back and getting your lats to work. Well done, Matt. Next exercise we're going to show you is another back one, bent over dumbbell row. This can be done really badly, Matt. We've been seeing it for years. Show us what we have to witness sometimes, not just here, but all over the world. People do these wrong. So they set themselves up badly, their back's all rounded, they pull it high, they don't stretch at the bottom, throw it around and jerk the body around, and that's what you see all the time, and people think they're working their lats. Now let's just stop for a minute. Put it down, Matty. All right. Now before you start, the first thing you have to do is set yourself up right. So you've got to arch your back. That's it. Shoulders back, good posture. You've got to be ready to look up in the mirror in front of you when you do the movement. Instead of pulling it up to your shoulder, you're going to pull it down to your hip. You're going to stretch at the bottom, almost touch the floor each time, or touch if you like, and you're going to pause at the top. Let's show you how to do it properly, Matty. You see his back's arched. He's getting the whole rotation of the shoulder through, which works the whole lat. His posture's good, so he won't hurt his lower back. He's getting a terrific stretch at the bottom, which means the whole lat's engaged. It's not a short movement. It's what we call full range of motion. They're absolutely perfect. Stretch at the bottom, slight pause at the top. You can see his lats fully engaged in the movement. His lower back's protected because it's arched. It's just perfect. The next movement we're going to do is upright row or high pull. Now, there is a bit of a difference. A lot of people do them the same way Matt does them. I'm a little bit critical of this because I don't believe it isolates the traps. It sure does work them, but it also works a whole lot of other body parts, particularly your forearms and biceps and front delts when you do it. So I want to show you a bit of a technique where you can really isolate your traps, particularly your lower traps. But first off, let's see how most people do upright rows. Matty, hands close together. He pulls them really high, which is good. But with his elbows going back on that angle, it becomes a circular motion, and there's a lot of forearm. Now, he's been able to develop his traps over many, many years as a professional bodybuilder, so he's got great traps. But the problem for a beginner, if you start doing this and you've got dominant forearms like Matt, then they'll take over the whole movement. So let's put it down for a minute, Matt. We're going to try something completely different, which is going to be out of your comfort zone, but that's what this show is all about, is trying different things to learn to put your mind in your muscle. Now what we're trying to do is get you to spin around for a little bit, Matt. Just lean back now, just pull your elbows back. Now you can see with your traps, you've got lower traps and you've got upper traps. Traditional barbell upright row does your upper traps up here. What I'm trying to do is hit the lower traps, and to do that, you've really got to isolate them and cut all your other body parts out, and that's what this new technique's all about. So spin around, Matt. I'm going to ask you to get your hands really wide, and don't do that big, long range of movement. I want you to keep it nice and short. Lean forward, roll your elbows forward, chin up, look straight ahead, and I want you just to pull it up to where my hand is fairly quick. Go. Now, when you get to the bottom, roll your elbows forward again and go. Now, try not quite straighten your arms at the bottom, and don't let your wrist curl at all. Keep your wrist straight. Perfect. This wrist just bent a little bit, so keep it stiff. That's better, just like that. Now you see his traps are pulling out wider, and we're getting the lower traps involved. It's a shorter movement, but it's a much more specific squeeze of the traps. With this movement, it's a very fast twitch kind of movement, and as it starts to get heavy, you've got to pull it up faster and faster, and you can because you're just pulling it up to chest height. How'd that feel?
I can feel that in the traps.
Good. Our final exercise today is one that gets performed badly everywhere we go. It's the old bicep curl. Now, people get too obsessed with weight. They pivot off their legs. They don't get full range of motion. There's a whole lot of things we see go wrong with the bicep curl. Let's show us what we have to put up with, Matty. Right, so select the weight which is not right for yourself. Put one foot in front of the other so you get a pivot off your leg. Don't straighten your arms at the bottom. Cheat a little bit with your back. Throw it up and down. Don't even hold it at the top, Matt. Just see, that's it. A lot of people think that's good, and you see someone with biceps like Matt, you think, well, that must work, but it's actually all wrong. Let's just show you why. Stop for a sec. You see, he's getting drive off his front foot, so your feet shouldn't be apart, shouldn't be like that, they should be together. Secondly, he's not straightening his arms at the bottom. And thirdly, just lean back, do one more cheaty one. So he's using his lower back, his leg, everything to throw the arm up except his biceps. Let's just put that down for a minute. Now, people get crushed when I do this, but let's just cut the weight in half and do them properly, Matty. So grab a lighter weight. First thing is, set yourself up by getting your feet apart, but at an even stance. Lean forward slightly so you're not leaning back, and this takes your lower back out of it. Now drag it up slowly. Stop there, count to 2. Go down, straighten your arms completely, push your elbows forward, chin up. Drag it up in front of yourself, stop, pause, down. Now, they're slow, they're methodical, and it's all bicep. There's no other muscle coming into this. Your forearms are holding onto the weight, but your biceps are totally isolated. And you'll see that Matty's not leaning back, he's keeping nice and forward on the weight, he's dragging it up in front of him. He worked twice as hard with a lower weight and got twice the result. His biceps are bulging, and this is how you have to do them. Okay, that's it for this segment. Hopefully you've learned some new tricks and some new ways to get your mind into your muscle on Muscle TV, because that's what it's all about. Slow down, less weight, better form, and you'll see the results come. Thanks, Matt, for coming on Muscle TV. It's been great to have you back. You're a fantastic champion and a ripper bloke. Okay, that's all we've got time for tonight. In fact, that's all we've got time for this year. It's been great presenting Series 7. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as us. We can't wait to see you next year for Series 8. And until then, see you in the gym.
Muscle TV was proudly brought to you by Maxines, for the body you want, and Max's, because life's too short to be small.